What's up, guys? It's your boy Justin back with another book review. Today I'm reviewing Vampire Hunter D Volume 2, Riser of Gales, which I think came out in 1985. I'll have to double check, but it definitely, if you read early Hideyuki Kikuchi novels, it definitely comes off as one of his earlier books, because man, does the dialogue suck in this book. And there are other problems. So yeah, if you haven't seen my review for Volume 1, I definitely recommend checking that out first, because I'm not going to repeat and explain the Vampire Hunter D world or mythos, okay? Because I am just not, because I need this to be a quick review, because I gotta go to work soon. So yeah, this is a horror, fantasy, dark fantasy action book. It was basically, Hideyuki has said that this was his version of doing Dungeons and Dragons books, or at least he implied that in one introduction to one of his books that I've read. So yeah, the book starts off with villagers from the village of Tepis, which I think is a reference to the original Dracula, or at least the guy who inspired the creation of Dracula. I can't remember the historical figure's name, but he was in one of the Fate anime series. It was on Netflix. I can't remember which one. Fate Apocrypha. That's what I'm talking about. Vlad the Impaler. That was his name. Right. So that was a reference to him. So yeah, the book starts off with villagers transporting a coffin with the corpse of a vampire victim to the graveyard, where an A-rank vampire hunter is supposed to, finish off the victim, right? Only for the victim to come back alive and basically kill the A-rank vampire hunter. What's strange about that is that it happened during the day. So that's the big mystery of the book, is who or what are these vampires that can walk during the day? Because obviously that's the one of the few weaknesses the vampires have in the world of Vampire Hunter D is sunlight. It's their main one. So yeah, because their A-rank vampire hunter gets killed, the village hires another A-rank vampire hunter, D, which we find out his origin story in this book, kinda. Which I love how people say his origin story is vague. They try to be vague, but not really. But yeah, so what's going on is so we have these 4 kids at this village who, when they were, well, they're teenagers now. They're like 17, 18. 4 of them, when they were kids, went missing and disappeared at these ruins nearby the village that people, for some reason, can't climb up. Or if it does, it takes them hours, even though it should only take like 10, 15 minutes, because of some kind of psychological defense system. Because just like I said, the people who don't know, these Vampire Hunter D books are basically horror fantasy version of Warhammer 40k, but instead of intergalactic, it takes place in the far, far, far future. So yeah, the ruins used to belong to a vampire. So, but people still like to screw around in them, and 4 kids went missing, and only for 3 of them to come back, and they all changed. 2 of the kids became super smart. One of them became, mentally handicapped and became outcasts for that. One of the kids became a teacher. One of them is a girl named Lena. Is it Lena? I'm mixed. Is it Lena? I think it's Lena. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I already started reading the next book I'm reading, so it's like I'm getting characters' names mixed up. But yeah, but because of this, people suspect that, these kids, these survivors that were kidnapped, which came back weeks later, are connected, or maybe the actual daylight vampire that's going around attacking people. And it's up to Vampire Hunter D to find out who's the daylight vampire, right? And there's also like a strange like electric a strange creature out there that's going around killing people as well. That seems to be invulnerable. Oh my god! So I just wanted this to be a quick review because there's so much bad with this book. Honestly, I might have overrated. Like, the world of Vampire Hunter D is really cool. I want somebody to make an open world RPG out of it, or some kind of RPG. I don't care, but holy shit! Like, I did like that they introduced that guard beast. That there are people who train and breed monsters to fight for them. So it's like you have like this SMT Pokemon style combat in this fucking book, which was pretty cool. And we found out that the humans are genetically engineered to live longer, to resist diseases, and we're basically inbred is you can't incest is apparently allowed because there's no longer nil effects to inbreeding, courtesy of the nobility, which are the vampires who used to rule humanity for some fucking retarded reason. I mean, they did it so so humans wouldn't go extinct, right? So they can multiply. But holy shit, did they fuck up the libido as well? Because this book is very fucking pervy. Lots of fan service, and I know it's dark fantasy, horror. So you're gonna have some stuff that's typical in dark fantasy, horror stories. But the way they treat the female protagonist in this book, which I honestly forget her name. Was it Lena with an I? Oh my god, let me double check. Yeah, it was Lena. Okay. My bad. There's a Lena in the book I'm reading, so it was Lena. But yeah, how they treat her was like, holy crap, man. It's gonna turn off a lot of fucking people. And I know it's not just a Japanese thing. Like, that shit happens in Western books too. But it's like, it would have been a little bit more tolerable if they made her just a year older. Okay? But it's like, holy crap, man. Because, it's constantly, she's getting preyed on by not just her, adopted father, but, by the thugs in town who are supposed to protect the village from fucking, the enemy, monsters and shit. So that shit was dumb. There was also the thing where the action scenes, which this wasn't a fucking problem in Demon City Shinjuku, but the action scenes were the way they were written, the author was trying to be very poetic, but it was an artistic, but it was it did not translate well to the point where I had a hard time telling what the fuck is supposed to be going on during the action scenes. So that sucked. And the mystery, which was probably the best part of the book, gets fucking ruined, because it turns out it was a ghost that fucking kidnapped the kids and experimented on them, right? And we find out, okay, what's the deal with the daylight vampires? Which would have eventually... It's one of those plots where I learned this from Jade Fanboy, but this is one of those books that has the plots where if you took out the main protagonist, it wouldn't have affected the plot at all, because the spoiler alert, which I'll have the rating in the description, so if you don't want to be spoiled, the daylight vampires near the climax of the book end up dying anyway. So it's because apparently the trade-off between having a vampire that can live like a human and can live like, you know, spend in the daylight, but it's have all the abilities of vampires, is that they don't fucking live very long, so they end up dying. They all end up dying at the end of the book. Some of them, like, you know, I don't think D actually killed any of them. So it was like, oh my god. So, like, the vampires would have eventually died. The daylight vampires would have eventually died. Even, like, one of them got pregnant and they were going to reproduce. But, like, yeah, she ended up dying before she could have the baby. So it's like, it is one of those plots where this is, like, so dumb. And then the fact that they were fucking... So we find out who the fuck was kidnapping the kids, right? And it turns out to be the ghost of fucking Dracula, who is, spoiler alert, Dee's father. Which, if you've seen, like, any of the fucking, like, Vampire Hunter D novels, they pretty much say that. But it's like, holy fuck, dude. That was... So the ghosts of... And it's like, dude, like, and they were talking about, like, the science aspect of these books, and it's like... Like, you're a fucking you're a supernatural being, motherfucker. Like, you should know that. Especially somebody who's called the Sacred Vampire, who, despite being dead, still kind of exists. So it's like, wow, that was so fucking dumb. I did like that the book took place during the winter time. So that was nice. That was a nice change of pace, but it's like, oh my god. There was so much dumb shit in the book, but I did... It's the thing where I like the book, but it's like, oh my Christ. I kind of like the book, but there's all this bullshit in it that was like, oh my god, man. But yeah, so... It's not... Yeah, people are going to give me shit for trashing this book, but yeah, it's 5 out of 10 at best, man. If you're a Vampire Hunter D fan, you'll probably like it. But yeah, and by the way, the book was like 200 something pages. So yeah, the next book, the next Vampire Hunter D book that we're gonna review in this omnibus is Demon Death Chase, which was adapted into one of my favorite Yoshiyuki Kawajiri films. I think his name's Yoshiyuki Kawajiri films, Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust. So hopefully that book is good. I hope it should be good. Like, it's such a fucking awesome anime film. Which, if you haven't seen Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust, you should go get it. They did re-release it on Blu-ray a couple years back. Should have fucking bought it then, but I didn't because I'm a dumbass. Bought the shitty 80s anime instead, even though that one sucked. But yeah. Oh, so that's it for this review, guys. Peace. My next book review, I know I was supposed to... I said if I had enough time before November, I would review another horror book, but I'm just not in the mood. And if you saw my haul video, which I doubt anybody's going to watch, but yeah... which I should delete that video. I shouldn't have, like, read that note that I found in that book. Because, oh my god. But yeah, the next book I'm going to review is Stephen R. Donaldson, The Ullrich War. So that's it for this video, guys. Peace.